Good afternoon, everybody. Time for another Wolf of Bricks update. Once again, I am Jim, and this is where we talk about Lego investing and reselling. So before we get into the main topic, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'm greatly appreciative of it. And before we dive into the main topic, I just want to go ahead and talk about a few articles that are on the wolfofbricks.com website. There are going to be a lot of articles coming out in the next couple weeks that I'm really proud of, and I'm really happy it's going to be hosted on our site. And I want you to know there really is only one purpose to wolfofbricks.com. It is to help you make as much money as you possibly can. All I would like to do is kind of support you and give you the resources that you need to do that. So one of the titles to one of our recent articles is Increase Revenue with Lego Gift and Purchase. Really like that one. The next one we have is a winning strategy to sell Lego for profit. And we also have added profit for purchasing Legos for resale at discounted prices. And that talks about stacking discounts. All right, so let's dive into the main topic. We are going to be covering common mistakes, and this is going to be a two-parter. There are a lot of mistakes that you could potentially do, and hopefully this presentation will help you minimize and limit those mistakes. So the first one is misjudging relevancy. And what I mean by that is that you just don't want to go ahead and buy a Lego set just because you like it. Now, the last thing I want to do is talk out of both sides of my mouth, because there are times that I've said, if there are one type of Lego sets you like, you may want to start there. But regardless, you want to do your due diligence. You just don't want to start buying sets because you really like it. And of course, that means because you like the set doesn't necessarily mean that somebody else will like the set. And I have encountered many people that have made that mistake. What you want to do is, I'm not saying you want to go with the pack, because I consider myself a contrarian investor and pretty much a contrarian in anything that I do in life. But you need a little bit of guidance. You need a little bit of pushing and nudging. You need a little bit of your own research, so you can make a confident decision when it comes to buying your first Lego set. The second thing is not keeping up on the latest Lego news, right? Now here's the deal. If you only sell in December because you don't have a large inventory, you don't necessarily need to have your pulse on everything that is going on in Lego, right? But as you scale up, as you start to get in the 5 figures and eventually 6 figures of Lego investing, you really have to keep your ear to the ground, and you have to know what's going on. So for example, right, the treehouse last year, it was highly rumored that it was going to retire, and I think it may have even made a retirement list, but it ended up not retiring. And if you're just out there buying and buying and buying treehouse sets because you saw that on the retirement list and you didn't pay attention to anything else, you're going to have hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars just sitting on the shelf, more than what it needs to, because you did not keep up with the latest Lego news. So you do want to make sure that you are somewhat up to date, and whether that means just casually reading some Lego websites and news websites to see what's going on out there, or maybe just talk to a fellow reseller during your one-on-one powwows or whatever you have, you always want to keep up with the latest Lego. Another mistake, miscalculating shipping costs and seller fees. Now this is something that I fortunately have not done. However, I guess I could call this a mistake. Is I used to offer free shipping. It's been a long time since I've offered free shipping, but I find myself always talking about it. Maybe because subconsciously I'm still kicking myself for making those mistakes. But let me tell you, it may sound like a good idea to do free shipping, and you want to be friendly. You're new to Lego investing, right? And you want to show people how nice and compassionate you are. Well, let me tell you, you just don't want to do that. You're going to continue to get orders from California, orders from Alaska, orders from Hawaii, and it's just going to eat into you. There was this one time, I'm not joking, I forget what set it was. I think I sold a $300 set. My return on investment after shipping was only like 30%. I was so angry. And that's whenever I said I'm not going to do it anymore. But getting back to miscalculating shipping costs, and even if you're not a prime seller on Amazon and you're doing FBM where you add shipping to it, you really want to make sure that that shipping cost is accurate. You really don't want that eating into your profits, because we're only here for the profits, folks. I mean, let's, be honest. We're here for the profits, and you don't want to miscalculate something like shipping costs that will eat into your profits. Another one is not being candid about your set conditions. And let me tell you, I've had reseller friends contact me. Even recently, they've said, hey, listen, I got this set, it's pristine, but there's just this one tear on the box. It's about the size of a quarter. What should I do about it? And the short answer is you want to be honest as you possibly can. Now, there are some sets that will get damaged and they will go directly to eBay, right? You want to sell your damaged sets on eBay. You can sell them on Amazon, but my go-to is always to sell them on eBay. But if you were to ask me, Jim, well, what's the exception? I don't want to say there's an exception, because this is something that you should always do. However, if you had a damaged set which is barely damaged and it's really not that noticeable, December is probably the time that you could sell it on Amazon and leave that information out. And when I say leave that information out, I'm talking like a small tear. And just keep in mind, I'm actually uncomfortable saying this because I don't want anybody to get in trouble. So, quick disclaimer, this is all for entertainment value here. But, I've done it in the past. I have friends that do it in the past. And I haven't had a single, return because of that. And I've never had a reseller that I've talked to about a Lego set that is barely damaged to, have a return or a customer complaint. But you really do want to be as honest as you possibly can when it comes to the set conditions. And the last one is buying too early. And let me tell you, this is a clear mistake that I made, and I wish I didn't make it because it's doing me harm right now. So the New York City skyline, as many of you know, I have over 250 of them. I'm probably closer to 300. And when that set came out, I said, I need to buy 1,000 of them, right? I have to have 1,000 of them because historically, New York architecture sets do phenomenal, right? Well, somewhere around a 300 unit quantity that I've had, I kind of changed my direction. I said to myself, I need to start buying these other sets. Well, guess what? I now have close to 300 New York City skyline sets that are sitting on the shelf. And let me tell you, there's not a retirement date out there for them. If you go to brickset.com, it says retirement TBD. It's to be determined. So what am I going to do with that? Well, I have no choice but to have those sets, sitting on the shelf. And that's one of the few times I've ever done something like that, because I always say you want to go ahead and wait. But at the time I was like, it actually does take a while to buy 1,000 units of one set. It's not something you could do the last month before it goes away for good. And so I thought I was doing the right thing. In retrospect, I wasn't. But you never want to buy too early. And finally, the other side of the coin is you don't want to buy too late either, because, there's a lot of people I'll see on forums and Facebook groups. They'll say, hey, what do you think about this set? And they'll say, well, it's not retiring this month. It's okay to buy a set that's not retiring the month that you want to buy it, but you don't want to wait till the very end, and you don't want to buy too early. Just keep that in mind. And that's it. I'd love to hear your questions down in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, I'm Jim with wolfofbricks.com. Always go out there and get it.